This movie probably has more pressure on it than any other Superman movie that's come out in the last 50 years. Hey everyone, Andrew here, Melbourne Superman, Super Fit Cosplay, and I've got some awesome news for you today. So recently we've had some divulgence about what the theme of the new Superman movie, Superman 2025, directed by James Gunn, is going to look like. So, there's been a lot of speculation, obviously, about this movie. Now that we're sort of heading into post-production, well, they're heading into post-production, more and more people are seeing what this project is going to be. So you've got sound editors, you've got sound design, you've got lighting, VFX, sort of just general editors, and they're seeing what this film is going to look like. So we're seeing a little bit more and more about what we can expect. So this isn't really going to be spoilers territory. I think those of you who watch my channel, you know that I talk about the news of the film as we see it. So we have now heard that there is going to be a real shift in what we're going to see in this movie compared to what we've seen in the past. So Daniel RPK. So he's a quality source about, movies, pop culture, and things that are coming out. So he had this to say. I've also heard that the new Superman movie is fantastic. It's a complete shift to hardcore sci-fi and fantasy, the exact opposite of Man of Steel. It's set in a world very different from ours and far removed from the DCEU. Heroes have been around for ages, and we'll see how it affected this world's history and has shaped the DCU. So he went on to say that there are going to be different timelines, that this is going to be, they're going to tell the story with different times, like more close to something like Star Wars rather than Marvel. He's saying that they're going all out for this movie, which, fair play, they probably should be. So obviously this means that we are looking at a Superman movie that's going to be the polar opposite of Man of Steel. Probably, as many people are saying that this is going to be sort of a tribute to Christopher Reeve, I think we're probably going to see a departure from that as well. So, breaking it all down. Now, it's a complete shift to hardcore sci-fi and fantasy. What does that mean? So, okay, when I look at Man of Steel or Christopher Reeve's Superman, obviously there's sci-fi there. It's a superhero movie. I wouldn't necessarily say that these two movies are set in a hardcore fantasy world. Man of Steel is set in a pretty realistic world. It is a harsh reality world. It's about this man coming here with these powers. We don't know who he is. It's not like all of a sudden, oh, wow. It's more like, what is this? What's happening here? There's a lot of destruction. It's not necessarily fantasy. Even the Christopher Reeve movies, they're set in a pretty realistic world, right? It's not like camp. Well, I mean, compared to some things, it could be campy, but it wasn't, especially the first two, necessarily looking at as goofy. And I think that can be something that we could worry about. Like, I mean, James Gunn, I think, is awesome. I think, say what you will, plenty of you out there hate him. What do you think? Do you like him? Do you hate him? Comment down below. Let's find out. But keep it nice. Let's not name call anymore. That's sort of creeping its head into my community, and I'm not loving that. But it's rare, so thank you for keeping everything pretty chill. So James Gunn does, of course, have a tendency to go over the top. I think that's not necessarily what this movie needs. I think I do want to see a bit of a comic feel, but not something that's going to take us so far out in the left field that it's just like, oh, that's just too much. So, look, at the end of the day, this movie has a lot of pressure on it, and I think James Gunn knows that. He must know that. This movie probably has more pressure on it than any other Superman movie that's come out in the last 50 years. Because we have the history that we have with Superman. We need something that we've seen something that we wanted, or a lot of people wanted, and then it went away really quickly. Now we have something that's going to jumpstart the DCU again. That's a lot of pressure. I dare say that if this thing doesn't deliver, James Gunn and his team are probably in trouble. Just going to throw that out there. So, yes, it makes sense that they want to do something different. They want to make sure that it works. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I'm really interested in seeing that this is set in a world where the heroes have already been established, that we already have heroes. We're going to see heroes throughout history and how it's affected the world. So maybe we're going to see a Superman that comes and sort of motivates burnt-out heroes that just don't want to be heroes anymore, or forgotten what it's like to be heroes, or were never just amazing in the beginning. Maybe we're going to see that. Maybe we're going to see this light at the end of the tunnel and see how he inspires that. So I think it's really going to be a refreshing take. I don't know how much we can expect the world to be comic-y. Now, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I think we've already seen and we've already heard that it's going to be set in a semi-futuristic type world, and I think that that's probably all we're going to need in terms of like comic booky. I mean, you can set it in sort of that modern sort of postmodern era where, you know, you've got that sort of eclectic blend of interesting artwork, interesting architecture. Even the clothing can reflect that. I think this movie is going to have to we're going to have to watch this movie and we're walking out of the theater and saying that movie knew exactly what it was. Like, it was either taking itself too seriously or it wasn't taking itself seriously enough is not what we want to, I feel. That's not what I want to walk out of the theater feeling. I walk out of the theater feeling, wow, that was fun. I feel hopeful. I can't wait. If I walk out of the theater and I think I cannot wait for Superman 2 or Superman, whatever the sequel would be called, that's a win for me. That's a win for me. If I can walk out of the theater either can't wait for the sequel or wanting to see it again, which I probably will. I'm going to see it multiple times. Well, I'm going to see this thing multiple times. Come on. Have we met? I think that's a win. Am I still recording? Yes, I am. So that's where we're at right now. We're going to see a Superman that's the polar opposite of Man of Steel, potentially the polar opposite of the Christopher Reeve movies, with a slight sort of nod to them, maybe a little bit of homage to them. But I'm excited. Like, I love Man of Steel. Don't get me wrong. Man of Steel I love it. I really did. I'm not like a Snyder cultist like some of you think I am, but I enjoyed the movie for what it was. But I think we need a fresh take, because I don't want to see a carbon copy of another Superman movie, because we did that already. And I think that a lot of people, even the people who absolutely adore Zack Snyder, if they saw a complete replica of that in James Gunn's Superman, there'd be a lot of people talking. There'd be a lot of things. I think Man of Steel, I think the Snyderverse, I think it had its run. I think it's done now. I don't think that we're going to see any more of it. I don't. And don't at me, but I think it's okay that we can move on. Just because another movie comes out doesn't necessarily mean that the other movies don't exist. If you like those movies, fine, but we don't have to hate on new movies that are coming out just because the other ones exist. It's like remakes and reboots. I hate when people are like, "Oh, it's gonna ruin the original." It's like, well, not really. The original one is still there, and you can either choose to watch the new one or not. It doesn't affect the other one either way. But I think with this, it'll be good to see a new take. I'm excited. The more I see about it, the more I hear about it. The suit is growing on me. David is growing on me. The style in which James Gunn wants to do this thing is growing on me. So I think we're going to see some really cool stuff. I know that a lot of you disagree with me. I'm really interested to hear why. I do try to get to everyone. So if I don't always comment as long as you do, I apologize. Just know that I am reading every single one of your comments, and I am thinking about them, and I do try to put as much as I can into them. So I really appreciate everybody commenting. So I really, really love that. Also, I want to remind you that we do have our members area. So that is an area where you can get things that will come out first. You'll get them a little bit early. You'll get behind the scenes. Maybe you'll get stuff that other people won't see. For example, certain reviews that I haven't released to the public. I do want to give a big shout out to the newest members of my membership area. Jordan Saylor, Yogesh Kumar, thank you so much for becoming members. I hope that you're enjoying the the stuff that you see before anyone else, the stuff that not everyone sees. So if you want to get in on that, it does start at $2.99 a month, so it's really cheap. Helps keep my channel going. I like to eat and I like to record, so like if I could just do that, that'd be great. So look, that's all I have to say about that. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notifications bell, ding ding, share it with your friends, watch to the end. Help me out. Follow me at Melbourne Superman on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.